How an expert probate realtor can make sure your probate sale closes on time and without any hiccups. We'll get into that next. Welcome back to the channel featuring the leading probate real estate team in all of California. I'm Brendan Moore, Realtor and Certified Probate and Trust Specialist by the California Association of Realtors.
And I'm Bill Heyman. I'm a licensed California professional fiduciary. I'm also a registered and bonded California legal document assistant specializing in probate work, as well as I am a licensed California real estate broker.
Now, please like this video, subscribe right now. Don't overpay. Want a fast, easy, and no-cost probate service? We have a team in every county in California where we help people save thousands of dollars and eliminate headaches through our one-of-a-kind cost savings, probate administration service, and real estate listing combo. If it's in California and real estate needs to be sold, you may qualify. So reach out, even if you started probate with someone else or on your own. Our info is in the About section on this channel. We love your calls, texts, emails, and comments. Now let's get into it. All right, it's how an expert probate realtor can help your probate sale close on time without any hiccups. And that's pretty important.
Absolutely. And Brendan, you have so much experience on the probate real estate sales side. Why don't you tell us what you, as an expert probate realtor, does in order to help probate sales close on time and without any problems?
I appreciate that, Bill. Yeah, I've said it before on our channel, but everybody knows a realtor, but practically nobody knows a probate realtor or a realtor who knows probate. And it can be significantly different than a traditional sale. While there'll be buyers of probate properties that are looking at traditional sales as well, and a lot of it goes on the buying side, very similar to a traditional sale. On the realtor side of things, it's a lot different, especially the listing agent side. But I think I'll mention some things that are both listing agent and buyer's agent side. But one of those things, well, first and foremost, before I list a property in probate, and I usually like to do this weeks before it even goes on the market, I get a hold of my favorite escrow officer who knows probate. I need to have an escrow officer who knows probate. And that's why you want to have just one of the reasons why you want to have an escrow or a realtor who knows probate, because they've done probate before. They probably worked with an escrow officer at a title company that has worked with probate before. There's so many issues that can come up in probate, and the process dealing with the legal side, there's so many little intricacies and requirements. You need to have that relationship. You and I have dealt with escrow officers before that have been in the business for years and years and years, and we do a probate sale with them, and some problem comes up and they don't know how to navigate it. Basically, I call that escrow officer. I say, hey, we have this property coming up, it's in probate. Can you get the title report for me? And then I get that title report, and the title report shows who owns the house, some property tax information, maybe some easements that are on the property. But what I'm looking for is there's a mortgage on the liens. I'm looking for the liens or anything that can hold up the sale. And I'm looking for if there's a mortgage. I'm looking for if there's tax liens. I'm looking for if there's utility liens or something else like a mechanic's lien or something like that. And certain things can take a lot of time. I just ran into this recently. Pull the title report. There was a city code enforcement violation, and the violation had been cleared, physically cleared, but the city still needed it to be cleared through their system and paid. But that process was a 3-week process to get the county to send what's called a payoff demand to show how much was due, and it was only like $100, but it would have held things up. So if you get into contract with a buyer and you did not explore that first, well, now you're waiting. You could be waiting an additional several weeks, and that could have blown the whole sale. Yep. IRS tax liens. The reason why the mortgage is important is because sometimes a mortgage is shown on a title report, but the mortgage was actually paid off, and there's a process for that. It is also lengthy, and I'm telling you right now, you could ask 100 realtors how to fix that, and maybe one will tell you how to do it. And that's why you need a realtor who knows probate. We have a whole video on that one. But after that, say you're now you're in escrow. You market it appropriately, and there's a whole lot of reasons why you want to work with a probate realtor. Market it appropriately, but these are about the things that can cause hiccups. And well, then notice of proposed action, right?
Right.
And you've probated thousands of estates. Notice of proposed action is required in most instances, right?
Yeah, pretty critical.
Yeah, and that has to go out quickly because there's a time period that when that goes out, you can't move forward on the sale until the time period, which is about 15 days. But it takes time to prepare those,
Right.
prepare them, mail them out. And then there's certain aspects of that afterwards the title company needs.
Right.
So you want to make sure that that is going out. You want to be able to communicate with the whoever is probating the estate in order to do that. In most cases, I'm calling or emailing or messaging Bill saying, hey, we're in contract. Here's a copy of the contract, and he knows what to do. I do that day one. Then from there, well, the certified copy of the letters, and that is the document that gives authority to the personal representative to sell the property. And the title company is going to need a certified copy, you can't just download that from the website. You need that directly from the court. And that can take some time to get if you're not really prepared. So you want to make sure that that is being provided to the title company. Another one would be, well, following up with a probate attorney or a legal document assistant like Bill is here to make sure that all the documents are being gathered, because there's more than that, right? There's a number of things that you have to do.
Yep.
And an experienced realtor in probate will know what a lot of those are, but needs to make sure that that's being taken care of.
Yeah, no, you're correct on that. I know when I'm the administrator of an estate and we're working together, I have a particular, I call it a probate document package that I put together for the title company to make sure they get it. And just like you were saying, if you're working with a probate attorney, you want to make sure that whoever the probate attorney is doing likewise.
And well, communicating with the realtor on the other side. So you need to be able to tell the realtor on the other side what is going on. Not only, well, if you're the listing agent, you need to be able to communicate with the realtor before the sale. Most realtors have never been involved in a probate sale before. And even if they have, it's been few and far between, or there's so many things that are different in one probate sale to another that are different than a traditional sale. You need to be able to set them at ease on the process and let them know a number of things. And I'm not going to take up a bunch of time talking about all those little things because it's not one thing, it's many things.
Yeah.
But it's so important to communicate a number of different things to the other side. And really, I was just recently on the buyer's side of a probate sale. Well, the escrow company, there was a holdup. It wasn't moving forward. So I called them and said, hey, what's going on? Why, what is the holdup? Trying to find out what was going on, if there's something I could help with. Well, the family of the decedent couldn't find the mortgage company information. Because if there's an active mortgage on the property, you have to contact the mortgage company, let them know what's going on, and then to transfer the sale, to close out the sale, you have to pay off the mortgage, but you have to get something from the mortgage company called a payoff demand. And they didn't know who to call. As it turns out, the mortgage had been recently purchased by another mortgage servicer. I knew how to find it. They didn't know how to find it, and just through my experience, I knew where to go to find out who is currently servicing that mortgage. So I was able to provide that for the title company. A lot of experienced title companies will be able to find that too, but they depend on a certain process that can be somewhat slower than the way I did it. Anyways, an experienced realtor in probate will be able to find that for you. But also communicating with the title and escrow is very, very important. I mean, they're the ones that are ultimately responsible for, they're an independent third party working not on behalf of the seller or behalf of the buyer side. Really, they're bringing both of us together, kind of like a mediator in a way, but they're not really mediating. They're just gathering everything from both sides so they can transfer the sale. They need to pass clear title, and they'll need certain documents. They also work on lots of different files at the same time. So you have to kind of stay in front of them, make sure, hey, do you have these documents? Did the attorney get you these documents? Is there anything else you need? Are there any other issues with any of the liens? There's so many questions I would ask. There's a lot of reasons why you need a realtor who knows probate, because they know what questions to ask.
Yeah, an experienced probate realtor is going to make sure things keep moving smoothly through the process.
Now then, there's the. Can you imagine, Bill, not understanding probate at all and being a listing agent on a limited authority situation,
Oh my God.
or one that went to a court confirmation process?
That's a nightmare.
Yeah,
That's a nightmare.
I've gone through several. I've been doing. I can tell you how many probate sales I've done, but limited authority court confirmation hearings, and I don't like them either. But I can talk all day up and down about how they go and the whole process with limited authority and getting to a court confirmation hearing, and what's likely to happen in the process after that, and how to deal with all these certain issues.
Yep.
But my gosh, if I didn't know,
I mean, I'm speechless when I think about a realtor who doesn't know probate trying to do a court confirmation sale. All I can see is just trouble everywhere.
When I did my first one, I had done several probate sales with you, and they're all full authority ones. So I knew that process really well. And then I also had you to guide me on my first one in limited authority. And that went to a court confirmation hearing. And it was one in particular where, that particular court was backed up like 5 months. It was crazy. But it gave me a lot of time to see what can go wrong, how to problem solve the situations, and to learn that process. And it was quite an educational experience, but I spent an extraordinary amount of time, and I had a great mentor, and I had already had several other probate sales under my belt.
Yeah.
So gosh, going into it and not knowing any of that, oh gosh, that would have been tough. Anyways, those are some of the reasons. Gosh, I mean, you're you're a licensed real estate broker, but for the most part, you probate estates.
Yeah, that's mainly what I do.
Are there reasons why, when you're working, because you don't just work with me, Bill has a team of realtors all over the state. So if you ever need, we talk about this on our channel, he'll probate your estate for such a dramatic cost savings. And he has realtors in every county, all over the state. So when you're working with a realtor, and you've worked with a lot of different ones, are there things that you really appreciate about the realtor when it comes to probate sales?
Yeah, there's a number of things that I really appreciate, but I gotta say, probably the number one thing is having a realtor that has a very good understanding of the probate process. And I do deal with a lot of brokers and realtors throughout the state in probate, and by far, you have the best understanding of any of the realtors I deal with. Now, I'm not putting down the other ones I deal with. Most of them have a reasonably good understanding. But I would say that is the biggest factor is having a realtor that knows probate. It makes all the difference in the world, all the difference in the world. I would say that's the most critical thing.
Yeah, I know some of the ones that you deal with and that are I think are good. Yeah. I think they're very good. Yeah. And you've been successful with them. Working with someone who probably has never done it before has got to be
it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. I don't particularly like to do that, but I have been put in situations where I've had to.
Because what can happen, and a lot of people will say hire an attorney, and the attorney may suggest a realtor, and that might be good. They might be the right realtor, and you should be able to choose your own realtor. Sometimes a seller, the court-appointed administrator, maybe the family will be like, oh, well, no, but our cousin Joe, he's a realtor. And they'll say, oh, we don't want to use a realtor. And you don't have to. Again, you don't have to use the attorney's realtor.
No,
you should just call me.
Yeah,
no offense to your family member or your friend who's a realtor, but it can be really complex.
Yeah, I recently, actually, it was about 2 months ago, went through, I was doing some probate work, and the family decided to use a sister who was a realtor part-time. Maybe closed 1 or 2 transactions in a year. And after it was all over, my client came to me and said, man, I wish I would have listened to you and used Brendan or one of your realtors because it was pretty miserable to get through the sale with her. And I'm not putting her down. It's just she had absolutely no experience in probate real estate, zero. And it was miserable for the family, and it made my job harder too. But we got through it.
You know, the number one and number two most common correspondences, calls, texts, emails through our channel that I get. Number one is, and I actually really like this, is from other realtors. And some realtors that have actually done, probate, who are somewhat experienced in probate. But my gosh, there's so many things that can happen in probate that maybe they haven't seen before, so they're running it by me, and I love that. And others who have never done a probate before. So that's number one that I get, is other realtors not knowing the process. And number two is a seller of a property or a family member of the personal representative, basically an heir of the estate, who is recognizing that the process isn't being done correctly for the sales part. And I've seen situations where they sent me the listing agreement, and I'm not going to get too into what you can and cannot do with a listing agreement, but it basically wasn't a valid listing agreement for two reasons, based on when it was signed and the length of the agreement. And it was marketed so poorly, I don't believe they could have achieved the most proceeds for the estate. And that was their biggest issue, that and communication, and that they basically wanted to get rid of the agent in that case, and would not communicate with them on and insisted on staying on.
And we're certainly not, I know there's realtors out there that check out our videos, and we appreciate that. And we're certainly not putting down realtors at all. And I'd just like to encourage you, if you're a realtor out there and you don't have a lot of experience in probate, call us. We'll help you. We'd be glad to help any way we can.
Yeah, I've actually met realtors through our channel who I found to be extremely competent in other areas of California where I don't work. I can work in anywhere. When you're licensed in real estate in California, you can work in any county in California. So, anyways, I know the questions to ask a probate realtor. Do you? That is maybe the next video that you should watch. It's one of the first videos we ever made. So it is a very good video. I think you should watch it. It's called How to Hire a Probate Realtor. It gives you 10 interview questions to ask a realtor when you're interviewing them for your probate sale. And then it gives you a downloadable list with the interview questions. I also give the appropriate answers. And on that downloadable list, you get an additional 5 questions that I don't even get to in that video. So 15 questions in all. It's a great value. Click on that video next and we download that list.